Even though we started our long-term test of the Audi A4 just a few short months ago, it already feels like a comfortable part of our family, yet somehow still special in a way we appreciate every day, despite some of its quirks and flaws. Maybe because it's been so hectic over the past few months that it's quickly grown so familiar, racking up over 5,000 miles of commuting, comparing, shuttling the kids around, and even a short road trip up to ski country. Through it all, there have been barely any complaints, but I'll get to those right up front. The only real mechanical flaw in the A4 is its low-speed maneuvering behavior. When just getting going or when switching from reverse to drive, there's a lot of hesitation before the power gets to the wheels. So when you're making a parallel parking maneuver or a three-point turn, it can be somewhat tedious and frustrating at times. As far as the interior goes, the split personality of the virtual cockpit and desktop MMI can cause a bit of hesitation before deciding which interface might be quicker for any particular task. Because some functions are only available in the MMI via the control knob, destination entry, saving presets, and stuff like that, it soon became my default instead of the more efficient and hands-on-the-wheel virtual cockpit in the gauge cluster. Those new to Audi's interiors may find all the information available slightly overwhelming at first, but it's totally worth the learning curve. At no time during the past few months did I feel myself wanting for more power, and the sport suspension and 19-inch wheels gave it that sporting flavors that I crave in any car I drive. Although it's a fairly typical 2-liter turbo that we see everywhere in this segment and in the Audi and VW lineup for over a decade, Audi has worked hard to keep it at the forefront in terms of power, efficiency, and refinement. Its fuel injection system adds multi-point manifold injection to the sequential high-pressure direct injection, and it even limits excess injection under partial load, as during light highway cruising. Continuous intake and exhaust camshaft adjustment manage the airflow into and exhaust out of the cylinder, and the engine also shuts off when you come to a stop in traffic or at a light, though it rumbles every time it restarts, so it's not the most refined execution of this tech. What does sound great is the engine under full throttle, a gruff rumble that matches its sporty side. After that initial lag, it very quickly finds traction and gets into its power band. It's 273 pound-feet of torque, available from 1,600 to 4,500 RPM, and the 252 horsepower kicking in at 5,000 RPM. It lives up to its soundtrack too, and between the quick-shifting dual-clutch auto and quattro all-wheel drive, it launches to 60 miles per hour in less than 6 seconds. Features editor Sami Hajjasad took the A4 out and came to the same conclusion about the powertrain, saying, "The engine and transmission are well sorted out, and the way the all-wheel drive spits you out of intersections and on-ramps is very entertaining." While the performance was better than I was expecting, mileage was a mixed bag. On our one extended highway drive, we saw almost 30 miles per gallon both ways, which is excellent for my driving and the middle of winter on wide winter tires. However, for the life of our test, which was mostly commuting into the city and around the suburbs, 23.5 miles per gallon isn't all that impressive for a small sedan. While my time in a variety of vehicles has pampered me with a long list of options that I tend to love, it's the simple practicality of the crossover that I often miss most. The low roof height means it's harder to pack my kids into the back and strap them in and tighten them down when we're leaving on any trips. The seats proved comfortable in daily driving and even on a longer drive, and despite the firm ride of that sport suspension, it never got tiresome or jittery. The cabin also remains quiet and serene, even at higher cruising speeds, making it easier to appreciate the superb Bang & Olufsen sound system. While the trunk won't hold a candle to a wagon or crossover, it is sufficient for this class, but Audi will sell you a lifted wagon called the Allroad if cargo space is more important to you than the sporty drive. When we embarked on this long-term test, we wanted to see if the A4 could compete with the best in the segment, and we were fortunate enough to line up a tough pair of tests against its German rivals, the C-Class and 3 Series. Against an evenly matched C-Class, the Audi showed its value and quality, even if the Benz was the smoother, more luxurious riding of the two sedans. The 3 Series, of course, has been the benchmark in the segment for generations, so a chance to gauge the A4 against this segment leader was the test we were most eager to perform. We secured a modestly equipped 330i that lived up to BMW's reputation for engaging dynamics, but also surprised us with its slick iDrive setup. Although it was a few $1,000s cheaper, the fully loaded A4 cost only a little more, offering better value, and came together as a more well-rounded package with a slight edge in quality. Beyond the stumbles of a 2-screen infotainment system, the integration of technology into the comfortable cabin were a joy to explore. From the handwriting recognition on the controller for the MMI system to one of the best adaptive cruise systems I've ever experienced. Although news editor Sebastian Bell was aggravated by the lane keep assist tugging the wheel against his hands, I quite enjoyed studying it at every opportunity and seeing exactly how tight a curve it could steer around while merely gripping the wheel lightly, ready to take over should it stray. I was thrilled to have a 360-degree parking view also, as well as the warnings on the backup camera for crossing traffic when backing out, and even flashing lights on the door for approaching traffic that might clip your door if you were to open it suddenly. While all this technology is new and headline-grabbing, it is the sturdy, understated quality of the cabin in the A4 that is most appealing to me. Every switch and button operates precisely and with a reassuring click, and everything your hands and body comes in contact with is covered in quality materials with the right amount of padding. The A4's S-line steering wheel was a study in perfection. The perforated and smooth leather a grade or 2 above the competition, and the contours perfect for keeping your hands at 3 and 9. I've long appreciated Audi's tilt and slide center armrest, but the clever use of the shifter as a place to balance your wrist when using the MMI controller is new, and it too is wrapped with superb perforated leather. 4 months was too little time to get to spend in the A4, and I'm certainly going to miss its driving dynamics as we move on to a far more practical long-term tester. Its driving aids and cabin technology were certainly impressive, and its practicality is on par with segment leaders, and performance has finally made a leap to match the best in its class without throwing comfort out the window. Some people might find the A4 too conservative in its design or the interior too simple. But those looking for a small sedan with a balance of luxury, technology, and quality, and a helpful serving of sport would be wise to test drive the 2017 Audi A4.